Hi guys, it's Sean from Menshare listening group. Hope you're very well. Poppy May joins us today. Hello, Poppy.
Hello,
How are you doing? You good?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Poppy's here today to talk about her story from a period of, as most people have, a normal, enabled life, doing their day-to-day things. One day, Poppy's world turned upside down, and Poppy's here today to kind of talk about that journey from this point to where she is today, which has an incredible story to tell as well. So, Poppy, thank you for joining us. And so let's just start with how we met. So we met basically. Well, I met you in the gym unknowingly.
Yeah.
So we go to the same gym, and one day I was in a very uninspired, unmotivatable mindset. I just felt really like, oh, can I really be bothered today? And then I kind of saw this kind of wheelchair, and I saw Poppy just absolutely smashing out these rowing strides backwards and forwards, and I thought, wow. And then I went on the running machine, and then Poppy's on something else, and then I'm sitting lifting heavy weights, and she really inspired me. And I thought, wow, what have I got to learn? What have I got to complain about when somebody is just not letting herself be held back? So she really inspired me. And then one day, I came into the gym again, and she was going into the lift, and I thought, right, I'm going to smash out today, just by seeing her, really. So I came out of the gym one day, and I came up to you, didn't I? And I just said that how much you inspired me, and from that point, Poppy has joined us our men's circle, and she's told her story, which she's going to tell you guys today, and it blew the men away. In fact, some of the men have had challenges themselves, and they really took a lot from what Poppy has brought. And then she went to our kind of ladies group, which is Sister Share listener group, and she did exactly the same and blew them away. So, so she's here to blow us away, really. So, Poppy, let's start in the beginning then. So, tell me the journey from the first time you had a diagnosis, or at the beginning stages to where you are now.
Okay, so I was about 17 years old, and I woke up on the Easter Monday with really bad back pain, and it didn't seem to go away. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? So I got checked out by paramedics, and I got told it was muscular. There was nothing to worry about because I could still walk, use my legs, go to the toilet, all of the normal stuff. So that continued until the end of the week. And by the Thursday, I had to end up dragging my entire left leg up the stairs as it was completely paralyzed and I couldn't move it or feel it whatsoever. Then we move on to the Friday. The leg was back to normal. Went downstairs. I went to go kind of sit on the sofa. As I went to get off the sofa, both of my legs basically, I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't move them, and I collapsed from the sofa when I stood up. So collapsed back onto the sofa, luckily, and not onto the floor. Got taken to hospital, had scans, tests, had absolutely everything thrown at me. Nobody could find out what was wrong with me. And I was discharged after 11 days. Bearing in mind, I was unable to walk. I could barely feel my legs. And I was discharged without a wheelchair, without any support, and told that it would be better in a week. And we move 6 years forward. I'm still no better. I am still full-time wheelchair user. But a few months after the disability kind of started, I was diagnosed with something called Functional Neurological Disorder, which is basically another term for it's all in my head. And I was taken to a neuro rehabilitation centre where I learned how to walk and stuff again. And I was the only patient who never actually fully recovered in that rehab unit, and everyone else did.
Wow. So from the point in the beginning to there, you said 6 years.
Yeah.
So within those 6 years, your mental well-being or your mental health must have been really impacted. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so my mental health kind of declined in the rehab unit. So I was in there for 3 months, and everyone told me, going into that unit is going to be the best thing you can do. You're going to get your legs back. You're going to be walking again. So I had this hope of, okay, I've got 3 months to work on my body, to work on myself, and get back to where I used to be. And that never happened. And I started my program in the rehab unit with, I think, about 15 other patients, and they all had the same condition as I did. And by the end of the 3 months, I was the only one who was still unable to walk. I could just about stand, but needed assistance. And everyone else didn't need their wheelchairs anymore. They didn't need crutches. Someone was sprinting on a treadmill, and she came in paralysed from the neck down. And I was the only person, really, who didn't fully recover. I was discharged early as a result. And yeah, my mental health just declined really badly, because I thought, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I not recovering? Why is everyone else recovering? And I just simply didn't really want to be here anymore. So for the next kind of 4 years after the rehab unit, I was in and out of psychiatric hospitals. I was constantly being sectioned for my safety and my well-being. I tried to unalive over about 200 times maybe. I've been brought back to life. There's just many things that I attempted. And yeah, that was kind of how it affected my mental health, really.
Wow. I mean, that in itself is, I mean, when you were in that kind of unit where you're amongst those other people and you're seeing them actually developing and starting to get feeling back and starting getting kind of slight normality, for you, I guess you were still thinking, well, yeah, it's going to come.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be a late developer in some respects.
Yeah.
And obviously, as it's got longer and longer, it's affected you because. So, wow. So what was the so from obviously 200? You said 200 times attempting unalive over 4 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm guessing with that there was challenges with how were you with kind of friends and family with regards to connecting? Did you find yourself pushing people away or getting angry or frustrated? Tell me a little bit more about that.
As for friends, I didn't really want to be around anyone.
Right.
I kind of isolated myself. Family as well, I didn't necessarily isolate myself from them, but I think they started to isolate themselves from me.
Yeah.
Because of how regular I was in and out of these places and how I just couldn't keep myself safe. Like when I stayed with my mum before I moved out, she would have to do really crazy stuff. Like, for example, all the medication was locked away because of risk of overdoses. All the back doors, the front doors were locked, and she kept the key in her bedroom where she slept. So obviously, because it's upstairs and I'm paralysed from the waist down, I couldn't have access to leaving the house at night. I basically had to be monitored like all the time. It was so bad. There was multiple times, however, how I did manage to sneak out in the night, and then end up doing something silly, ending up in hospital. And then she obviously got the call, your daughter's in hospital. And she was like, well, how the hell did she get out? I've climbed out of a window before because I was that desperate to do something. So yeah, it definitely impacted my family a lot.
Okay. So, kind of looking at the camera, for somebody who has the same condition right now and maybe feeling like giving hope and things like that, what can you say to them?
I think, like, obviously it's going to be hard because once you're diagnosed with something that is quite literally life-changing, you have to go into the mindset of, okay, it could be 10 times worse. I'm still here. I'm still living. Yeah, my legs don't work, but I can do this, I can do that, and I've got so many people to prove that I can do these things. So as hard as it is, try not to give up. Try and keep that hope in your head, and things will eventually improve.
Poppy, tell me from the point of when you thought, right, enough's enough, and tell me about that journey.
Okay, so something happened in 2022, and my way of dealing with it this time, rather than going through the unaliving situations, I drove myself towards drinking alcohol and taking drugs. And I'd never kind of been down that road before, and it was a new road, I guess, that I investigated to deal with whatever I went through in 2022. So the alcohol was my coping strategy. I also ended up with an eating disorder at the same time. So all I was doing was drinking alcohol, smoking cannabis, and not really eating anything. And obviously, as a result, it made me really, really poorly. It led up to several psychotic episodes, and I've never experienced a psychotic episode in my life. It was terrifying, seeing things and hearing things that you think are there, but actually they're not, and it's your mind. And as a result, I ended up in London. I've got no memory of how I got to London. And I think it was middle of December, and I was taken to resus. I think I was missing from 4 p.m. the night before till about 3 a.m. in the morning. I was found by the River Thames, and I was under the influence of drugs and alcohol, and I spent, I believe it's 5 hours in resus. I don't have much memory of it. I remember parts of that episode, but not a lot of it. And I do remember, which is something I would never do, physically attacking resus staff members.
Wow.
Because of how aggressive I got, because of all the drugs and alcohol that was in my system. As a result, I got sectioned, and that was my last ever section. And when I was in that hospital, I realized this isn't the place I want to be. Like, I don't want to be in and out of these places for the rest of my life. I want to change. Like, I want to start living and not surviving, because that's all I was doing. I was just surviving every single day, and I wanted to actually start enjoying my life and experiencing things. So from that kind of moment, that was my last admission, and I set myself, I was like, right, I'm going to start recovery. And I've been saying it for multiple years, and it never really happened. There was always relapses and everything, and it never really started. But this time around it did. I got my family back because I pushed them so far away, and they didn't obviously want to know me because there was drugs and alcohol involved. Got them back, and I started planning, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I was still under services at the time, and the best option for me, which I decided, was to discharge myself from all services. And a lot of people thought I was crazy to do that because they didn't think I was stable. But I realised that the services was actually the thing that was making me unwell. It was the constant phone calls every week. How are you doing? How's your mood? Have you had any thoughts recently? Have you harmed yourself recently? And even though I was in a good place, it made me overthink, actually, am I doing okay? And I didn't need that in my life. So I discharged myself from the services.
Wow. So when did it change? When was the moment you thought, right, that's it, I need to change, I need to move forward?
Probably during that admission.
Okay.
It was just something just clicked in my head, and I was like, no, this just can't keep going on. And I think because of how many times I've been close to not making it as well, and that was an extreme situation. I mean, to spend 5 hours in resus being monitored, that's dangerous stuff. So I think from that moment when I was in Langley Green and, I was sectioned, I was like, this is it. There can't be any more admissions. Like, this can't carry on. This has to change.
Fantastic. So what did you do then to change that? So what did you do to kind of take positive steps for you getting to the gym? What was the journey from that point? What did you implement? What did you do? Who did you speak to? That kind of thing.
So I was already going to the gym, but again, like, I still have my struggles, obviously, but this time round, I wanted to focus on getting my strength back from the eating disorder, getting back on track with food and everything, getting back with the PT, and like proper training. And the first step that I made towards my recovery was I got rid of all of the items that I used to self-harm myself with. I put them all into a bag and threw them into this massive bin store, which is in my block of flats. So I had no access to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew from that step that there was no going back, and I wasn't going to go back. And then, shortly after, I discharged myself from the services. And then, I was getting into the gym. I met a guy called Rob, who is also a wheelchair user, and he got me into races. And
Okay.
that was kind of like the big start to recovery, if anything. So he's like, oh, do you want to do a 10K? And I was like, I've never done a 10K in my life when I was able-bodied, let alone in a wheelchair. So no, I'm not doing a 10K. It's, oh, come on, we're dressed up. Like, I'll be Superman, you'll be Superwoman, we're dressed up, we do a 10K. And I was like, all right, I do it. And I did it, and that was it. I had the buzz, and I was like, nope, I need to do more races. I need to get more medals.
Wow. Okay. So what was your so you did the training obviously for these races. So did you start feeling the kind of the positive feelings of doing the doing the exercise? Did you feel the shift in your mindset? Did you start thinking? Did you start focusing more?
Yeah, 1,000%. I had a goal to achieve,
Mm-hmm.
and I had the training behind that goal to complete, and it was the training that drove me towards that goal. And then once I've achieved that goal, I was like, no, I want to set another goal. I want to set another goal. I want to set another goal.
So tell me. So currently at the gym, obviously I've seen your videos and I've seen you live do the. So what you're lifting at the moment on kind of static weights, as they say.
So the dumbbell shoulder press, which is just mad that I'm even lifting this at the moment, is 16 kg each.
Fantastic.
And as for the seated deadlift, my 1 rep max is 127.5 kilos.
Wow, that's more than I can lift. Powerhouse. That's fantastic. So you inspired me, and I'm sure that other gym users inspire them, but obviously they've not told you that. So I think there's a message out there to you guys where maybe Poppy's journey might inspire you to kind of join the gym. Maybe find a group what do training for marathons, for wheelchair users. Start the change of kind of doing something for yourself. Poppy's story has obviously gone from the depths of despair to trying to unalive herself to now, obviously, having a happy life.
Yeah.
I'm always seeing you laughing, and I've seen your gym videos. They scare me. When Poppy goes in at 8, I'll go in at 9 because I don't want her to lift more weights than me. Otherwise, I'll stop going to the gym. So, yeah. So, who's your role model in life?
I'd probably actually say Rob, to be honest with you.
What's Rob's surname?
Groves.
So Rob Groves. Rob Groves, you're a legend.
Shout out to you, Rob.
Shout out to Rob, you're a legend. What you done for this girl? Amazing.
Probably because he got me into racing.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, I did the London Marathon. This was last year. And I was like, oh, a marathon. I was like, that sounds tempting. And then I managed to get my spot for the London Marathon.
Wow.
So that's all kind of thanks to him, because if he hadn't mentioned, oh, let's do a 10K together, I would have never completed the London Marathon. I would have never set challenges for the future on bigger things than the marathon. So, yeah, I would say Rob, to be honest with you.
Fantastic. So, 2025, what does that look like for you? What have you got? Any goals, any challenges? What are you doing?
So I want to start a community circle, which obviously you're aware of, inviting people of all different disabilities to come in, and it's a safe space for them. They can talk about whatever they want to talk about, and yeah, they feel like it's a safe space, and they don't need to kind of hide away at home and lock themselves away like we all did. They can come, and it's a community, and we all share the same stuff, and we all understand each other as well, because we're all going to be disabled, so we all understand the struggles of stuff. I also have a whole year of training to do.
Wow.
Because in 2026, round about May the 1st, I will be taking on the Land's End to St John O'Groats in my wheelchair.
That's amazing.
So once I told my PT the other day, he was like, okay, we got a whole year of training to do.
Wow.
So I've started doing that.
And you'll be looking for sponsorship and things like that.
I will be looking for sponsorships,
we'll put the link out on that for you.
Appreciate that.
Get some donations. So, and also as well, you have a partner in your life.
Yes.
So we can't give you all the credit, Rob. So just tell me a little bit about your partner. How inspirational has he been in your life?
He's been absolutely amazing. We actually met in psychiatric hospital, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Loads of people said, "Oh, you're never going to last. It's this relationship's not going to last because she's always in and out of hospital, and it's going to affect him, and it's just not a good idea." And if anything, obviously we're still together. It's been over 2 years now. We're still together, and he's been so supportive.
Wow.
So supportive. He's always out there on TikTok promoting my videos. And I'm not even asking him to do that. I was like, "Oh yeah, promote your video. I'll make you get more views, and I'll do this for you." He also, but the thing I love about him the most is he doesn't see the wheelchair. So what I mean by that is, when I first kind of wanted to get into a relationship, I was so scared that people would see it as like, oh, it's Judgment. A carer thing. And when I first met him, I was like, "Oh, what did you notice about me?" He's like, "I noticed you. I didn't notice your wheelchair." And sometimes we would just have a conversation, and he's like, "I do forget that you're disabled." He's like, "I don't see you as a disabled person. I see you for who you are." And I'm like, that's what I wanted the whole time. So he doesn't see the wheelchair.
Wonderful. What's his name?
Soban,
you too are a legend. Not all heroes wear capes, as they say.
Exactly.
So that's amazing. It's amazing.
If you're watching this now, go into 2025 with the mindset of things will get better, things will change. You just have to hold on to that hope. Trust me, I know, I've been there, and I know the road that you're on right now, and I know that things may seem really difficult and really hard, and you believe you can't get through it, but trust me, you can. Like I say, I've been there, and one day you'll be sharing your story. One day you'll be saying, "Oh my goodness, like I did it. Like I'm through this patch of my life, and I'm still here today." And you'll all be sharing your stories. So go into 2025 with the mindset of things are okay. You're still here, you're still breathing, everything's okay, and you will get through this.
Okay, guys. So you've heard Poppy May's story, and like me, truly inspirational. Poppy, thanks for coming down today and telling your story. And guys, do get in touch with Poppy. She's more than happy to help. Can't do nothing about the screaming kid, but what can you do? But no, listen, we keep it real here. We talk from the heart. We don't script it. We've talked from the feeling, talk from the heart. And Poppy is an inspiration. And for me, when I go in the gym and I see Poppy, it just gives me a lift so I can push myself, and I'm sure it does with many, many guys as well. So from myself and Poppy, have a wonderful Christmas and festive period. And guys, be around good people, keep talking, okay? Christmas does bring a lot of mixed things for people, not just, we know it's for the children, but we know it brings a lot of challenges. So what I would say to you is, talk. If you're talking here, nobody can hear you. But talk out of here. Reach out. Let's go for a walk. Can I just tell you about some stuff on my mind? The Samaritans, the crisis teams, okay? You're better on this planet than being off it, believe you me. And we've all had, including myself, I've had suicidal thoughts in my lifetime, okay? It's very easy to think it, it's easy, and more concerning when you try and do it. So, guys, be a gift to the world and just keep talking to people. My name's Sean, Menshare Listen Group. Poppy May, thank you very much. Take care.